Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kat. I'm a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and nutrition coach. And oh my goodness, we are getting into the 30 days to healthy living from Arbonne. Anything and everything said in this video is for entertainment purposes only and are my opinions. Even though I am a dietitian, I am not your dietitian, so I encourage you to talk to your doctor before changing your diet. Also, everything in this video is covered by the Fair Use Law for use of copyright material for criticism and comment. Now, I would be lying if I said I was not a little bit nervous about this video because there are a lot of people who are die-hard fans of Arbonne. That is okay because I am not here to bash Arbonne. Well, kind of. I am not here to bash any of the representatives or the consultants or Huns. I will be doing a deeper dive into the health-related network marketing companies just because I've been pretty quiet about this overall for the last few years, but there are some shady things that are going on and it needs to be talked about. And a lot of people are talking about the structure side of network marketing and the issues around that. And so learning more about that side, even learning from my own history and experiences, is just something that I've been really interested in learning from because I'm a really big believer in, quote from Maya Angelou, of do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. That know better, do better has been something that I have built my whole foundation as a nutrition coach, as a dietitian. It's something that I really take wholeheartedly. When I'm approaching my profession, the more that I learn, the better I do overall. And so I do want to make more videos on this subject. And I know a lot of people are making videos on this kind of topic, but I really didn't see anybody talking about like some of the nutrition concerns that I have and have had. I haven't really seen that, and so that's kind of what I wanted to bring. I have a whole list of other companies and programs that I want to be talking about, and I'll probably, we'll see how this goes. I might be doing some of my more normal kind of videos in between each one of those other ones. So here we go. Before I get into this, this is on the company that they are working for. This is on the company that has full control over those products. Those individual distributors or consultants, they have zero say in what the products are going to be like, what the price point is going to be, what the PR around it is going to be. They don't have that control over the business, and so this is more so on Arbonne. So this is not meant to attack any of those consultants or anything. I think the majority of them come from a place of really trying to help people, but it's just, again, kind of that know better, do better. Okay, so I actually downloaded and printed off the 30 Days to Healthy Living from Arbonne. Now, I think this might be the Australian guide. I tried like clicking the US portion of the website so many times and then it kept getting me back to Australia. But what I also did was I went to Instagram and saw a whole bunch of stories. And so I was able to look more into what this program offers, what it requires, all of that stuff. So we are just gonna go ahead and dive in. Now, I don't want this to be a bashing video. I want this to be an educational video and I want it to be fair. Because of that, I'm also going to talk about the things that I am okay with. I really wanted to approach this in a non-biased way. I will say I have never tried any of the Arbonne products. I do not intend to try any of them unless I can get some for free and just do like a taste test, because I will try everything once as far as food goes. So there are a lot of deep dives into Arbonne as a company itself, and I can link some of those down below. But this is strictly just talking about their approach to nutrition, which they call that 30 Days to Healthy Living. That's what this video is going to be focusing on, because quite frankly, as a registered dietitian, I'm asked so many times, so often, what I think of this program or this product or that product. And honestly, it's really helpful if I can kind of become more aware of different kind of programs that are going on. I really like to have a more broad and better understanding of what that program is saying and why I am telling them or able to tell them my concerns over it, rather than just putting a blanket statement on it being a fad and not being something that I recommend. So that's what this video is. So if you are new to my channel and if you aren't aware of kind of how I approach nutrition, my nutrition is very much focused on promoting sustainable lifestyle practices and actions that truly support whole health. Every time I talk about health, I like to bring it back to that definition of health, that complete physical, mental, and social well-being and emotional well-being, and that if something that you're doing is great for your physical well-being, but it's harming your mental well-being, it's not truly promoting health, it's not healthy. And so the actions and the practices that we need to do around our health or promoting it, supporting our health, they need to be supporting our overall health. And a lot of times when we look at diets and programs and all of those kind of things, they are not really promoting that whole health, and they're not sustainable. Another term that a lot of people like to use is the difference of like that surface level health versus that deep level health. And that deep level health is what I really love and what I really like to help people do. And part of that is not having 30-day diet plans. Just saying. Okay, so I have all my notes over here if you see me looking this way. So some of the positives that they encourage in their guide that I can get on board with is that they talk about getting more vegetables and fruits, getting colorful veggies, cruciferous vegetables, dark leafy greens, berries, legumes, really just quality, high nutrient-dense carbohydrates are listed in their guide, and they also talk about lots of really healthy fats. And so that's really how they like to approach it. Now, Arbonne is completely vegan in my Googling of it, and I haven't really seen any part of Arbonne recommending any kind of animal protein. I am not a vegan, I am not a vegetarian. I don't have anything against vegans or vegetarianism. I think those ways of eating can be very healthy and can help a lot of people, but I also believe that you can have that more variety and have that incorporation of animal proteins in your diet and also be at a superb health level. Part of the reason why I am open to lots of different ways of eating is because part of my philosophy around nutrition is it's really helping people to see food as neutral and to not see them as like good food or bad food, but really bring them into just overall food neutrality. That's actually a video that I want to make and talk about food neutrality with. So when I do nutrition coaching, I don't have any foods that are like completely off limits unless there is like a medical nutrition therapy need. You know, if that person is allergic and they really can't have that food, I like to show people how to incorporate those more fun foods into their normal life. But overall, those foods that they talk about, they're pretty good, right? Like they're very nutrient dense. So let's break down what the 30 days to healthy living is. So step one, and this is where the start of my problems begin, or concerns. Not really my problems. They encourage you to eliminate wheat and gluten, dairy, sugar and artificial sweeteners, alcohol, coffee, vinegar, and soy. Now the reason why they are recommending you eliminate all of these foods is because they say that those are the most common allergens, when in reality, when you're talking about food allergies, there's a reason why there's something called the top 8, and not all of the top 8 are actually in this step. And there are things in this step that are not in the actual more common true food allergies. So yeah. Okay, so my concern with this is that it's not a true elimination diet, and this is not how you do an elimination diet. Now, there are certain elimination diets like FODMAPs, which really truly do help people who are having some kind of digestive concerns or issues, and those are just because of the specific chains of carbohydrates within those foods. But there's also a really important protocol for not just eliminating those, but having that phase where we start to test those different FODMAP groups and start to bring them in. There are protocols that are followed that are based on evidence, based on the research, and are really helpful in determining what kind of gut concerns are going on and what their threshold is. Maybe they can have this specific food, but when they have this one with this kind of FODMAP, it's a little bit too much for their system, or maybe they can have this amount, but anything a little bit higher can maybe set them off. And so this is not a true elimination diet, and a lot of the Instagram stories that I saw around it were very much about eliminating these foods because they aren't like good foods and we don't get any nutrients out of them. And I call BS on that because I know a lot of people have issues with dairy, like physical issues, but also other kind of concerns around it. That's a whole nother topic. But when you are looking at milk and dairy products, to say that they don't have any nutrient values in them, there is a reason why things grow with milk. And it's because what is in milk is bioavailable, meaning that our bodies can use that. It can utilize those in order to help our bodies continue thriving. And even when you're talking about completely eliminating gluten products, all wheat products, there are people who really do need to do that. And that is completely understandable. But for those people who have celiac disease and who need to not have any gluten-containing products, there are other nutrients of concern that we are looking at too. As dietitians, we don't just tell somebody who has celiac disease to just stop eating gluten. We are also keeping an eye on some other nutrient factors, on some other factors of their intake to make sure that they're getting some of those nutrients that are most commonly found in those gluten-containing foods. And that's not to say that you have to have gluten in order to be healthy and have a really balanced diet. Not at all. But what I'm saying is some of those foods are just a really good source of nutrients. And yes, you can get around them without having those foods, but having those foods makes it a lot easier sometimes. And so just because you are going to eliminate them, that doesn't mean that you're gonna it's just such a blanket statement to just say completely cut those out. So something I've noticed also on a lot of these MLM diets is that they recommend that you don't have coffee. What I find really funny is that they usually have their own product that has some caffeine in there, but we will get into more of that later. So my biggest issue with that is, yes, you can get to a healthier place with that, but at the same time, all of those don't need to be restricted at once in order to get to that place. And why add unnecessary, potentially unnecessary restriction if you don't need to? Already, whenever somebody comes to me with wanting to work on their nutrition, my goal is to put as little restriction on them as possible. And then there's no protocol for adding those different things back in. You don't know which one was causing any kind of GI discomfort or anything. Like, it doesn't tell you anything. Like, it's just that you eliminated all these things. And in my experience, sometimes people will completely just restrict all of these things and say they feel better, and then believe that to mean that they can't handle gluten or dairy or some other kind of thing, or vinegar or coffee. But in reality, like, was it actually that, or was it everything else that you were eating? Were you going throughout the whole day, like not having a balanced meal, not having that good balance of carbs and protein and fat? Were you not having those extra plant foods? Were you just kind of living off Pop-Tarts? Like, yes, if you eliminate those things and you start to incorporate more of those other things, you're probably going to feel pretty good. But did you need to eliminate all of those to that extent? Could you have just focused on adding more of those more nutrient dense, less highly processed foods and felt the same? Most people just don't see that. It's things like this that make that much harder whenever someone comes to me and they expect me to give them a list of a million different things that they need to never eat again and give them a meal plan telling them exactly what to eat, when to eat. Like, all of these food rules. I can't. I just can't. Okay. So that was step 1. Step 2 is to eat every 4 to 6 hours. Now this is something, like, if it works for you, that is great. If you like to eat every 4 to 6 hours, fine, do that. I like to eat every 4 to 6 hours. That works for me. That works for my body. That works for my overall environment. Do it if you want. So then they give an example. Here's where things start to change. So they give an example of your morning food, your afternoon food, and your evening. So for morning, they recommend you have a shake. For the afternoon, they recommend you have a shake. For the evening, that's when you get your full meal. If you choose to have a snack, choose from the healthy snack and beverages section of this guide. And there's just examples of basic snacks, you know, vegetables, fruits, things like that. And of course, they have to plug in their Arbonne Essentials protein snack bars and their Arbonne Essentials Fit Chews, which we'll talk about those in a little bit. They also say to avoid eating after 7 p.m. If you feel better having that full digestion before bed, then go on and do that. But if you are hungry and if you can't fall asleep because you're tossing and turning because you're hungry, go eat a snack. You don't have to stop at 7 p.m. Let's talk a little bit about the shakes that they want you to have for breakfast and lunch. All of their shake recipes that I found have 2 scoops of their protein shake mix. They have 1 scoop of the daily fiber boost, a 1/3 cup of vegetables mostly, a 1/4 cup of low glycemic fruits. What they mean by that are fruits that don't really shoot your blood sugar up really high that quick. So they're recommending things like dark berries, green apples, and then 1 tablespoon of a healthy fat. So like avocado, peanut butter, flaxseed, things like that, and some kind of fluid. So like water, almond milk, rice milk, all of that good stuff. For extra nutrient boost, add flax seeds, chia seeds, coconut flakes, all that good stuff. So I'm trying to be positive. So a positive, what I like about this is that they're encouraging you to add some extra fat to the mix. A lot of times, and this is across the board, MLM or non-MLM, is that protein shakes or meal replacement shakes will be pretty decent in protein, depends on the brand, but pretty okay with the carbohydrates, but they'll be super low in fat, and that's because it's just kind of hard to mix that together and make it shelf stable. But because it's so low in fat, sometimes they just say to mix it with water or mix it with fruit, something, and they're not getting those extra nutrients from the fat. One, those fats are going to help you to digest certain vitamins a little bit easier, vitamins A, D, K, and E. They're called fat soluble for a reason, in order to utilize them as best as we can for that digestion piece. But also from that practical piece, fat really helps us to feel full and to stay full from one meal to the next. So it's really important and really helpful to have some kind of fat in every meal. And so I do like that they're adding fat to this shake. I don't know how the shakes taste, but I'm assuming with all of the extra fruits and the fats and the like almond milk or coconut milk and all of the other add-ins, I'm sure it tastes a lot better than if you were just having that shake with water. Okay, so my concern with that though is that it doesn't really teach you how to approach your breakfast and your lunch if you don't have a shake. Like, do you really want to drink a shake every single day, 2 times a day for the rest of your life? Does that seem like something sustainable? And because of that, I have to give it a thumbs down for that piece and more. We're getting to it. Step 3 is talking about your one meal that you have for dinner in the evening, early evening before 7. And it talks about eating in the proper portions. And I thought this was really funny because one of the Instagram stories that I found, she wrote full meals, no deprivation. And I was like, oh honey, that looks like a lot of deprivation. So they recommend you have half your plate with non-starchy vegetables, so something like broccoli or kale, spinach, asparagus. That's a good thing. Having half of our plate as vegetables is something that I don't always do, something that I certainly strive for, something that I like to do, but that's a solid recommendation, right? Like that's even part of the national recommendations, to have half your plate that produce. And then they recommend a fourth of your plate come from lean proteins. And I guess I have to take this back, because I thought they did recommend going full vegan or vegetarian, but they apparently don't, because I forgot. But it said the recommendations are things like wild fish, organic chicken, turkey, grass-fed beef, beans, lentils, quinoa. Okay, so the next point is 1/8 of your, 1/8, hold on. Oh my goodness. You guys, this is half, right? So if you take away this little thing, this is half of the plate. So all of this be filled with vegetables. Like that's a solid amount of veggies. That would be really awesome if you could do that. Okay, and then it says a fourth of your plate. So like this part, be filled with lean proteins. Like, okay, that's great. 1/8 of your plate be healthy carbs. Guys, this is the amount of carbs. This is it. This is it. That's it. That's all the carbs you get. You get 2 shakes and this amount of carbs. That is really sad. And then 1/8 of your plate be healthy fats. So things like nuts, seeds, nut butters, olive oil, avocado, all of that jazz. Okay, so in a nutshell, that is the 30 days to healthy living. Now, that's just the food part. We haven't even talked about all of the other things that are part of the program when you purchase it from a consultant. So some of the IG stories that I found, and I'll put a picture of these if I can. Some people say it's not about what you could lose, it's about what you can gain. No, it's about what you can lose. Something that is really entrenched in diet culture. Just because you say that it's not about what you can lose doesn't mean that that's actually true. And another one, it said it's not a liquid diet. It is a liquid diet. There are liquids more than there are actual solid foods. Someone said this is not a fad diet. Again, just because you say it's not doesn't mean it's true. And then this one, this girl, she said, you aren't going to any social events or having to be tempted by donuts and goodies in the office. And when you come out of this, you'll be ready for the summer. Love that. And this person said, what is it? And part of answering her question of what it is that it's an elimination program to uncover food sensitivities. No, it is not. And this one, I think I actually am gonna report it because it says, heal your gut. And it lists all of these different things, and it says with Arbonne 30 Days to Healthy Living. So the things that it lists out include weight loss, anxiety, depression, migraines, arthritis, thyroid, thyroid issues you mean, allergies, swelling, insomnia, inflammation, IBS, diabetes, joint pain, high blood pressure. That is a lot of things to say that what this Arbonne 30 Days to Healthy Living is going to have an impact on. Again, just because you say it doesn't mean it's true. Where is the evidence of that? I'll be waiting. So what does this include? When you decide to do this, it's not just about following those 3 steps we talked about. It's not just about getting those protein powders to have your shakes with. No, you're actually gonna have to purchase 2 protein powders, 2 boxes of energy Fizz, 2 boxes of herbal tea, 1 box of Digestion Plus, and your choice of 2 of either Body Cleanse, Fiber Boost, or Greens Balance. But that's not all. With all of that, you get a free gift, which I'm assuming is like a water bottle or a shaker bottle or something of that nature. Okay, so let's dive into the actual supplements itself on everything that this 30 Days to Living recommends. There's a whole list of supplements that it recommends that is a part of the 30-day program. Now, before we start this off, it's important to know the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, does not have the authority to review supplement products for safety or effectiveness before they are marketed. Now, once a supplement is out on the market and somebody has some kind of issue with it, like they have a bad reaction to it, then they can report it, and then the FDA can then go ahead and take a review of that product. So that's important to note, just because I hear a lot of times people have a concern that this product has not been approved by the FDA, and my comment to that is always like, yeah. It wouldn't be. So it's always gonna say that. Now, again, with some of the positives, Arbonne does have a line of products called Phytosport, and they're actually third-party tested by Informed Choice and also the Banned Substances Control Group. Now, those are groups, especially Informed Choice, that is one third-party company that a lot of health professionals will recommend. If something has that third-party certification from Informed Choice or something like NSF, those are actual third-party tests, and they are really important for making sure that what is actually on the label is in the product, and that it doesn't also have that contamination, and it doesn't have like fillers going on in it. So that is a positive. However, they are only third-party tested on that specific line, and as of this recording, when I was looking at that specific line, all of those products were sold out. So I don't know why they wouldn't extend that third-party testing. Like maybe not the Banned Substances Control Group, I can understand that, but at least like that Informed Choice, I would like to see that on the products. But then again, I wouldn't like to see the products at all. Okay, so let's dive into their protein shake or their meal replacement shake. They have a couple of different flavors. They have a chocolate and a vanilla. They also had a marble cake, which actually sounds really good because I like cake. They are vegan, gluten, soy-free, no artificial flavors or colors, no cholesterol, which is pretty funny because cholesterol comes from animal products. And so by them saying that it's vegan, there wouldn't be any cholesterol in it automatically. So that's just extra wording that's unnecessary. So the protein comes from pea protein, cranberry protein, which is a thing, and rice protein. One thing that I had a concern over is that there is chicory in their products, which can be helpful for some, but it is a high FODMAP food, and a lot of people, if they are dealing with some IBS or other kind of digestive issues, that chicory root can actually cause more of that discomfort. I actually have a client that I'm working with right now who started coming to me because she was having a lot of pain, and she has a lot of other concerns going on, a lot of issues digestive wise. But one of the reasons that we found that she was having a lot of pain was because she was having some Beachbody shakes, and those, I believe it was Beachbody, and they had chicory root in them. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, we're taking that out. And you don't need it anyway. Okay, so I thought it was funny that their B12 amount in their shakes have 300% of the daily value, which is quite a bit of B12. So it retails for $77 a bag for 30 servings, but if you're a preferred customer, I believe that's what PC stands for, it's only $61.60, which is still quite a bit, and it's quite a bit more than what I spend on my protein powder. As I was looking through the supplements, I was thinking of going through all of the supplements, or at least some of the big ones, and if people really do like some of the products but they really don't want to support an MLM, I was going to make a video or a guide showing like what some other options might be, alternatives that you can buy in a normal store that aren't MLM products and that do provide a similar kind of outcome. I don't know if it would be helpful, but I think it might be. So they also recommend that you have 1 to 2 Fizz sticks per day. Now these Fizz sticks, they really don't sound very good, but I haven't tried them. They consider them to be a natural energy boost. I don't understand why. And I talked about this a little bit earlier, but I don't know why a lot of companies, they have this thing against coffee. Now coffee is like the most natural energy boost. It literally grows. It's from a plant. Coffee beans actually have a lot of benefits to them. There's a lot of plant chemicals, there's a lot of phytonutrients, antioxidants. One of my professors in undergrad, he actually was really focused on studying coffee beans and their effects and all of the different things within coffee beans, the different compounds, and their effects on cancer cells or something related to cancer. And so on the product sheet for the Fizz sticks, it says that it's a replacement for your morning coffee, which there is no way that something cold and fizzy is going to replace my morning coffee. I'm sorry, that is not gonna happen. So it says caffeine is naturally derived from green tea and guarana, and it has like 55 milligrams of caffeine versus the 70 to 140 milligrams you'd find in a normal cup of coffee, 8 ounces. So it's a little bit less caffeine with that. And it's just listing all of the B vitamins, which we know if they're getting the shakes, they're getting a good amount of B vitamins, especially B12. And there's some other things in them that's just not really necessary for most people. And what I thought was really funny was on the product sheet, it says each stick pack contains approximately 55 milligrams of total caffeine, right? And then it says vitamins can only be of assistance if the dietary vitamin intake is inadequate. You guys, the vitamins in there aren't necessary. The vitamins that are in there, vast majority of people are not deficient in. And you can get the benefits from drinking a cup of coffee. And that I'm sure tastes so much better. I just can't. So the Fizz sticks retails for $55 or $44 if you are a preferred customer, and that's for 30 sticks. I will stick with my morning coffee, thank you. So now remember, with this whole pack, you also get 2 boxes of herbal tea. There were a couple of different options available. The one that I was looking at, it was just your basic tea. It had some dandelion, peppermint, parsley, elderflower, sweet fennel, licorice root, nothing too crazy. And how they talk about it, how they try to sell it, they say that it's refreshing, soothing, and delicious, mild, caffeine-free herbal tea. That's it. It retails for $18 or $14.40 if you're a preferred customer. Do you really want to pay $18, even $14, even $10? Do you want to pay that on something that is refreshing, soothing, and delicious, when you can get yogi tea or traditional medicinals instead? No. I thought that yogi tea and traditional medicinals, those are quality brands. I love choosing from their tea variety, their selection. They're a little bit more pricey, but their quality is superb, and they're much cheaper than Arbonne's. So remember, one of the other options was Fiber Boost, and their Fiber Boost is just 12 grams of fiber. Now, they also say that it's formulated without cholesterol, saturated, or trans fats, which I appreciate because I don't think any fiber should contain cholesterol, saturated fats, or trans fats, especially because fiber and fats are completely different kind of molecules, and and they should never really be a part, fat should never be a part of a fiber supplement. So again, another unnecessary thing to say, but it's fine. There's nothing crazy with it. It has some good sources of fiber in there. Is it necessary? No. And on their tips, I thought it was funny. It said, make sure to drink lots of water. If discomfort occurs, start with half a scoop and increase to 1 scoop as usage continues. So yeah, you definitely want to make sure that you're drinking enough water if you're getting that extra supplement form of fiber. So the next supplement is Digestion Plus. Now, the girl on Instagram called this the muffin top eraser, which I have so many problems with. But the Digestion Plus itself is a product that has some probiotics and some prebiotics. Now, a lot of people get those confused. So probiotics are those actual microorganisms in our digestive tract. And the prebiotics, that you can think of it as pre, so coming before, that's actually the food that the probiotics, they're living, that they need to eat and feed off of in order to live. Okay, so they just have one specific type of probiotic, which is one that's generally regarded as safe. It's just a basic one, but however, if somebody is having any kind of digestive issues, if they have IBS, if they have Crohn's disease, anything of that nature, it's really not recommended that you, without knowing their history and everything that's going on, it's not really recommended to put them on a probiotic, and it can actually be really harmful. So I would just be careful if you are recommending a probiotic. It is something that even I don't do on a regular basis. It's just not the best practice to do on a regular basis unless you are either a dietitian who specializes in that area or a doctor. So they recommend that you have this Digestion Plus 30 minutes before and after meals, and you can also add it to your shake, of course. Now, one of the other big things with this product is that it has digestive enzymes. So enzymes are something that our body creates in order to break down macronutrients or food into macronutrients. And you can kind of think of them as like scissors, like going and breaking down the little carbohydrate chains and the protein chains and the fat chains. And we have different ones for different kinds of foods, different kinds of macronutrients. And this starts as soon as you start putting food in your mouth, there's something called salivary amylase, which starts to break down some of the carbohydrates. And so most people don't have enzyme deficiencies. It's not common to have enzyme deficiencies other than lactase. So if you hear something that ends in an ACE, that tells you that it's an enzyme. Now, a lot of people are deficient or they have insufficient amount of lactase, which breaks down lactose, which is why a lot of people have some digestive discomfort after having some dairy foods. Now, this product has some lactase in there, but it also has a lot of other unnecessary enzymes. And if you do truly need those enzymes, you should not be getting them from this product. And you should be working with a doctor to help you figure out why that's going on and to develop a plan or protocol for around having those digestive enzyme deficiencies. That's not normal. So it's just an unnecessary product that has a lot of unnecessary things in there. And for the high price point, it's just not worth it. Okay, so the next add-on that you can choose to have during your program is their greens product. Now, there are actually a lot of non-MLM products of this kind of nature. Powdered vegetables, powdered fruits are something that can really help a lot of people, especially if they aren't used to getting a whole lot of fruits and vegetables in, and you're trying to get them to enjoy more of that food, and you're trying to help them kind of change their taste buds. Maybe they're not used to cooking, and maybe they're just trying to drink more water that week, just taking really small action steps. And there is a time and place where sometimes those vegetable powders or fruit powders can be really helpful. Let's say if somebody just got done working out and they know that they need to fuel their body well, but they don't feel like having a full meal, they can have a smoothie or a shake and have some of those non-MLM green powdered produce essentially in their shake. That is a way to get in lots of nutrition. However, some of the concerns that I had around this was that it was saying that it was a full serving of fruits and vegetables, and I have a little bit of a problem with that because I don't like because I don't want anybody to think that it's going to be equivalent to eating fruits or vegetables. You're not going to get that fiber when you're having those powders, and it's not going to be the same as having that full serving of that whole fruit or vegetable. There's a time and place. It's not necessary for health though. Now with this, I'm really confused because it says on the product sheet that there is no added sugars, yet right underneath the supplements facts where it talks about the other ingredients in there, it clearly says organic cane sugar. What in the world? I don't know why this happened. I will link it down below so you can actually look at the PDF that says that. Maybe they'll take it down and change it. I have no idea. If you're a representative with Arbonne or have some kind of affiliation with them and you know why there is this discrepancy, please comment down below. Let me understand how something can say no added sugar and then clearly state organic cane sugar as one of the ingredients. And then the other concern that I have with the greens product is that, again, it's not third-party tested as their sports line is. If they were to do a third-party test, at least I would know that what's actually on the bottle is in the product, and I wouldn't be worried about it having other fillers or contaminants or things of that nature. Okay, so as we mentioned before, you have your shake 1, your shake 2, and your full meal with your 1/8 of your plate as carbohydrates. But you can also have some snacks, and they recommend having their protein snack bars or their Essential Fit chews. Now their protein snack bars, I looked at the ingredients, nothing too crazy. They're just your average kind of bar. They have 10 grams of plant-based protein from rice and pea protein. They have 3 to 4 grams of fiber, around 25 grams of carbs, and around 5 grams of fat. So decent macronutrient profile when you're talking about what would constitute a balanced snack. There are so many bars out in the market that you don't need to spend $30 for 10 of them, or $24 if you're a preferred customer. Okay, and then the Fit Chews, those are actually really interesting because the ingredients, they're brown rice syrup, cane sugar, palm oil, citric acid, so we're talking about the one that tastes like lemons. They have some mono and diglycerides, natural flavors, sunflower lecithin, and maltodextrin. So just kind of basic ingredients to kind of hold everything together, emulsify it well, all of that stuff. But just like, why would you want to spend that much money on buying chews that are just brown rice syrup and cane sugar and palm oil mostly? It's just unnecessary. And they do have an adaptogen blend within those chews with 3 major ingredients. However, I will also link down below that the NIH or National Institute of Health really doesn't recommend these for any specific reasons. Really just say that there are no high quality studies in these specific ingredients that really support them being a snack, and to always discuss the use of supplements with your healthcare provider first, which is something that I don't think that many Arbonne consultants are doing before they recommend these chews for people to eat as snacks. I'm just not guessing that they're saying that. Maybe they are. Now, there's also lots of other supplements within the guide, and I just briefly went through them. They have like an omega-3 plus, a mind health one that also has more vitamin B in it. They are getting tons of vitamin B. There is that multivitamin and mineral boost. That one has 1,667% of daily value of B12. These ladies are getting lots of B12, and the men who are part of it too. Lots of B12. Good thing it's a water soluble vitamin and you just pee it out essentially. There is what they call a body cleanse that detoxes and helps to flush out toxins in the body, and you can use it over 1 week or throughout the program. You guys, I can't with this. And then they have what's called Full Control. Now, Full Control is a fiber supplement. It's from a specific kind of root, and they recommend you to drink it 30 minutes before you eat to help you to feel full and ultimately eat less. Who is primarily using Arbonne? What is the age group of people usually using Arbonne? Sweet baby angels, if you are watching this, you don't have to fill up on fiber 30 minutes before your meal so that you feel full and you eat less. You deserve real food. You don't need to fill up on fiber. If you have to rely on this full control supplement so that you feel full when you eat your 1/8 plate of carbohydrates, is that really not a diet? Is that really not about what you can lose, but what you can gain? Let's say you get really into a habit of having that full control supplement before you eat. And let's say you run out one day, maybe you haven't gotten another replacement, or you're out and you don't have it with you. Are you going to have that confidence around that food of recognizing where your fullness cues are, where your hunger cues are? Are you going to be able to be mindful with your food and realize when you're satisfied, when enough is enough? And that's not to say that you can't go a little bit further because you're enjoying that food, but really, is that supplement promoting a healthy relationship with food? No, it is not. And this is where I draw the line. And you might hear that I'm laughing and I'm smiling. This is just kind of how I am. Whenever something bad happens, I tend to laugh. It's just my coping mechanism. But this full control supplement is a problem. It is not something that I would ever recommend somebody to do if I want to help support them in a healthy relationship with food. It's not a way that's going to help you to feel more in control of your body's natural cues. It's not. We already have a problem. We already have issues with identifying how our body is feeling, with identifying if we truly want more food or if we don't, if we're feeling energized, we are having a problem with that. And this is not everybody, of course, but again, like for the majority of people who I see, who I work with, we already are trying to help you to get more in touch with your body. Having something like this 20 minutes or 30 minutes before you eat your meal so that you don't eat too much, so that you feel more full, is an issue. It is pushing you further away from having that food body congruence, from having that relationship with your body, to listening to it and not just shutting it up and shutting down the hunger. It's just not necessary. And for some people, they might see this and be like, oh, I can really benefit from this. And while you can benefit from this, while some people can really appreciate this kind of product, again, are you looking at that immediate benefit of that feeling of fullness? Or do you want to work on that more long-term benefit? Maybe it is really easier and more comfortable to be able to have something like that supplement and to feel full immediately and not work on that kind of food-body relationship. But in the long term, that's what really matters. And that's what really bothered me with this whole program, is that full control. And also the next supplement. So the next supplement is for metabolism support. There's a lot of basic ingredients that you always see with metabolism support kind of supplement scams and everything, where there's green tea, there's caffeine, all of that stuff. And really, my question is, what message are they trying to support? What messages do they promote? Are they truly healthy messages, or are we just trying to get people to lose weight? Do we not care that they're potentially eliminating tons of quality micronutrients in their diet? Do we care that they are so focused on how to prepare their plate that they're only getting a tiny little portion of carbohydrates at their one solid meal a day? They say it's not a fad diet and that it's not about what you lose, but what you gain. And they say that this entire 30 days is 30 days to health. But what I say is that this program is 30 days to losing money and body image issues. and food relationship issues. And any health that somebody gets out of this program is because they eliminated so many things that potentially really don't support their health, in the sense of like lots of highly processed, hyper palatable foods that is often really hard for most people, a lot of people, to kind of regulate themselves over. And instead, they're adding a whole bunch of like solid, whole, regular, nutrient-dense foods, all of those foods that I started this whole video on, those vegetables, those fruits, those legumes, the dark leafy greens, the cruciferous vegetables, the healthy fats, the awesome carbohydrates. If you're adding those in and taking out some more of those other foods, like yes, you're gonna feel that difference. But the health that you feel after this program doesn't have to have anything to do with Arbonne itself and the 30 days to healthy living. And just a little side note, in the metabolism support, they add chromium in there for blood glucose control. It even says that. As soon as I saw chromium, I knew that they were doing it related to blood glucose. However, it only helps that blood glucose balance if you are deficient in it. And most people, even diabetics, are not deficient in it. That's been something that like I've known since I was a student in dietetics. And again, this is not to do with the Huns. This has to do with the company itself and how it promotes the products and how it is overall in a industry that really doesn't promote health. So I don't even know how to wrap this video up. Overall, is to say that if some of these products were available in stores, would I be open to getting a sample of them? Potentially, yes. Some of them, yes. Some of them, absolutely not. But however, I cannot ethically stand by this whole nutrition program when part of it is promoting that full control supplement and that metabolism support supplement, and overall that support of that diet culture and that idea that you have to be a smaller size to be healthy. And when you're having this nutrition program that is really restrictive and says that it's not a diet when it so clearly is a diet. Just because you say it's not a diet doesn't mean that it's not a diet. And I know why they're saying that, because there is this whole push on the like anti-diet approach. But this ain't it. This is not it. Okay, so I hope you guys liked that video. I am so fired up and excited to dive into more of these kind of companies and their nutrition programs around them. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe. Between these videos, I will plan on having more of the type of application videos on having a healthy relationship with food, overall a healthy approach to nutrition that supports your physical, mental, emotional, and social well-being. All right, that's it. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.